welcome back to the Dr. Millennium podcast. I'm Dr. Millennium, and I'm furious that you lost that nuke.
Okay, first of all,
Introduce yourself first, and then explain yourself.
No. How am I going to introduce myself? Well, number one, you disturbed me, and two, I'm Dick Valentine.
Thank you.
And I would like to, for my right, defending myself, the nuke was not lost, okay? It's just misplaced. There's a fucking difference.
Do you know where the nuke is?
No, I don't fucking know where
So
the
it's
nuke
lost.
is. Okay, it's not lost, so it's misplaced. Like, you can misplace things. Just because, like, you lost your keys doesn't mean, like, you don't know where it is.
Today on the Dr. Millennium podcast,
I'm just saying it could be in
we're
the
gonna be
fucking
talking about
house.
Jesus H. Christ.
Oh, that's actually a good topic.
That's actually what we're going to talk about. Religion.
Oh.
So we'll start off.
Oh, okay.
First question. Does religion serve a viable purpose anymore?
And I'm assuming present tense is the way you phrase your question.
Yeah, as of current year, as of 2018, is there a practical reason that any person would be practicing religion? And out of all religions, discounting the stupid made-up ones like Pastafarians, because anyone who identifies as a Pastafarian should actually be shot.
Okay, but the thing is, you want to respect everyone's form of like belief, and this is where I.
Not Pastafarians. Everyone else, I'll respect your
Oh my
belief,
God.
but the people who are like, no, I genuinely believe in smoking weed and communing with a giant spaghetti monster. I actually, but go ahead.
So even as funny as it may seem, like to hear that, we just kind of like to me it's just like okay, to each his own. But I think religion does serve a viable purpose in any time, whether it's past, present, or future.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because if we look at today's society, and we look at society as a whole, in America, because that's where we want to dominate.
The whole world.
I mean, the whole world, but of course you have to have a base, Hitler wanted to take over where first? France. And then,
Poland.
No, it wasn't. It was France.
Are you sure?
Look. Is this a fucking history lesson, or are we going to fucking discuss, like, our plans?
I mean,
Who fucking cares about Hitler? Hitler
comparing
fucking
us
died
to
from a
Hitler?
sinus. No, I would not compare us to fucking Hitler.
Okay.
Because we're epic, okay? He was fucking lame.
I mean, he took a lot of cool shit and fucked it up. Like that Nazi salute, that used to be like the Roman salute, where you like hold your hand over your heart and like hand it out.
Yeah.
Like giving my heart to everybody. Now if you do that, you're a fucking Nazi.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
like, I don't know, just a lot of the shit that they did. They took those like beautiful Buddhist symbols of peace.
Oh,
and
yeah,
prosperity
and turned it into the fucking Nazi sign?
Yeah, turn it into
Yeah.
the fucking swastika.
Well, he was a dick. But if we look at religion...
But was he wrong?
Was he wrong?
Question 1 on our religion podcast. Was Hitler wrong?
Was massacring 3 million people. Oh, that's psycho motherfucker. But the way I'm looking at this is religion, if it was served for today, it would help. What's the best way I can put this? It would help our society a lot more in terms of having a structure.
Let's say there was. So I'm gonna phrase it to you a little bit differently because
Okay.
I get where you're coming from,
But it's very broad though. Like it's a very.
So let's start like back in and I mean going at this as though clearly neither of us are super religious. Going from like the basically agnostic perspective of like there really isn't any kind of thing who gives a shit.
Mm.
But back in when religion was first being formulated and created, it held a purpose. Mm-hmm. It got people to behave a certain quote unquote moral way. Mm-hmm. Don't kill people. Don't do certain things that are clearly wrong. Nowadays, if there was no religion and things operated the same way as they do now, does incorporating religion into a society is exactly the same right now, but now you incorporate religion. What does society benefit?
Society benefits something called structure, because if structure was used for it back in the day, it can be used as structured now. And let me preface my question my answer by saying this. If we look at most people today, right? You don't have to have, if you look at back in the 60s, right? Wholesome household families, you look at people and families that were like not split. People, having a divorce was like insane back then. Like holy shit, it was like
even
a very
like the 90s. It was weird.
Even the 90s, it was weird. But in today's day and age, 2018, you look at broken households, right? Kids going out shooting up fucking schools, right? You look at all this other crazy shit that's happening. Now, people aren't really stressing the importance of wholesome families, going to church. And the thing about even going to church, let's just say, right? Or whatever religion you believe in, there was a family bonding moment. Like, listen, we're gonna go to church. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
I'm
letting you talk.
We're gonna go to church. We're spending time as a family, and we're gonna bond. It's more of like a bonding time. But today, it's like, well, religion has thing in the past. Whatever. Oh, I mean, I really have to respect my parents? I mean, and it's just like you see these kids out of control. Divorce rates are fucking high. So it's like, is society moving forward? Even though we have technology, we have internet, we have social media, we have all this shit, but are we really moving forward as a human race? I mean, if you look at online for social media, you have all this random shit, right? That's not helping people become better themselves. And like, it doesn't really matter what religion you look at. The way I'm looking at this, all bases of religion have a way of respecting the other person that's with you. So I do think it's viable. Do you have to use it every day where you have to be like Tom fucking Cruise? And if your kid's fucking sick, you have to say, oh no, I'm gonna keep my fucking kid here. Why? Because I'm a Scientologist. And I personally don't believe that. I think you should utilize whatever society we have, like medicine and other things that we have here. But at the same time, what I'm gonna switch and flip the question to you is, what's the problem with having that moral ethic and code? Because clearly in today's day and age, with high divorce rates, broken households, kids being really fucked up as they're growing up, and each generation, like from here on out, is probably going to get worse based on the rate that things are going. Schools are being shut up. I mean, is it really, not, like, why is it not viable to have it? So I'm going to flip the question to you, and then...
So you're going to say it is viable?
I am, yes.
Okay, because
yes.
I have the exact opposite take.
Okay.
Now, clearly, my religion is that I am the supreme being, and everybody else is below me. But in all seriousness, so I feel like back in the day, back when there was no man-made, man-imposed, basically legal system. It was just everybody kind of does whatever they want. You needed something. So something had to control people. And I think creating what is, for lack of a better word, a giant Santa Claus entity that is going to judge you after you die was a pretty good motivator to like, oh shit, I better behave because this big, after I die, this big bad, Santa Claus is gonna turn into Kris Kringle. He's gonna fuck me up. That could be useful. I think nowadays people aren't deterred by that kind of thing anymore. I don't think religion or lack thereof has anything to do with it. I think that people, they grow up, they realize, hey, I don't think religion has anything to do with broken homes. I think the sanctity of marriage or lack thereof was always kind of a sham. People didn't get divorces not because God would be upset, but because they were just told, like, tough it out. Nowadays, we're telling people, no, you deserve better. You deserve better. You deserve to do better and do whatever you want. Make yourself happy, which on some level I agree with. On some level, I think people should be allowed, like, if you're dealing with somebody who's beating the shit out of you, you shouldn't be forced to be stuck with that person because you made a vow before, big Santa Claus.
I get what you're saying. Okay, is it the person or is it the religion? But at the end of the day, it still gave that moral code.
Sure.
Growing
but
up. Let me just finish here. It gave that moral code growing up and instilling to kids like, okay, you know what? You don't have to believe in this, maybe, you don't have to be, you can be agnostics. You can be whatever you want to be, you can be an atheist, whatever you want to be. But the fact is, that moral code was still there. That moral ethic was still there. That growing up as, I remember before, like, I would wait for everyone to sit down at the table, and, before prayer, and then we would, like, eat food or whatever. It instills...
So let me throw this at you then.
Yeah.
Would you rather have somebody wait for their family to eat, be a good stand-up person because that's the way they are? Or do you want to trick them into it by telling them that the tooth fairy is going to punish them after they die? When you die, you're going to be tormented for your whole life if you don't do right. Or, hey, you should do right for the sake of doing right.
But the thing is, and I'm going to flip this to you, right? And it can be at work, like for example, because, even for work, when your supervisor or your boss says, well, there's this, and you have a pile of work to do, right? Now, you're motivated to say, oh, I'm going to go and, work today. I'm going to get a paycheck. I'm going to go home. I'm going to cash it, right? Every 2 weeks or bi-weekly, however you get paid. And that's my motivation there too. But there's also that motivation that if I don't do, I can come into work and basically say, fuck it, I don't have to do what I have, like my duties. I can slack, I can do whatever. But you have to understand that there is that repercussion. There is that punishment.
But that's a physical repercussion.
Okay.
That's not your boss saying, hey, listen, if you don't do your work all the time, right as I tell you to do it, if you don't do that, I mean, maybe nothing will happen to you now, but later when you retire, I mean, Santa Claus is going to shit down your chimney.
But that does happen though, and I'll explain to you why.
No, because
hear me out. And the reason why I say that, you won't get fired on the spot. Your supervisor or your boss is literally going to look at this.
You're talking about tangible man-made punishments. I can tell you, don't kill somebody because you will go to jail for life. Or I can tell you, don't kill somebody because you are going to be punished after you die by being thrown into a lake of fire.
Okay.
So one is a physical thing that will happen to you. One is, well, maybe. I'm saying, we're talking about a well, maybe. You know what I mean? Like this is being fired, having a poor performance review. Those are all man-made physical punishments. That's the you're going to jail.
Yes.
I'm talking about like, well, if you don't do right, I mean, you'll be lazy when you retire and you'll die sooner.
But that's also a good way of really controlling yourself, because at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you know what? I might, like, for example, you say you're agnostic. You're like, maybe, me being a regular person just chilling here, maybe there might be somebody that might punish. At the end, so it's like, it makes you think in a way where it's like, should you be a good human being either way, like religion or not religion? I believe in that. And I'm sure you're the same with you. As a human being, you should just be a good fucking person.
Yeah.
Throughout in that setting, case fucking closed. But I think when it comes to at least having that idea, like, man, shit, I mean, maybe there might be something at the end. I mean, I don't know if it's God. I don't know if it's hell. I don't know what it is. But I just don't want... See, this is where I have to ask you. That would make sense if we weren't human beings. Like, if we did not have emotions as people...
If you're in an emotional state, it doesn't matter what somebody's telling you. You're going to do what you're going to do. I mean, if I come in and I go, oh man, there's this dude fucking my girlfriend, I'm going to beat the shit out of you know what I mean?
But that's
you
natural.
You hear it all the time.
That's a natural human reaction.
God and Jesus doesn't enter into your head at that point. Like,
God.
Allah being pissed about it is not... Well, Allah, I guess you stoned both of them to death. Yeah. So maybe Allah's cool with it. But like the Hindu gods and all that shit, it's like almost no religion is going to say, hey, forget about me for a minute and do what you got to do. I mean, maybe Catholicism, you do it and then you just ask for forgiveness later, do like 8 Hail Marys.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You're not going to check yourself in the moment because you are so caught up.
But my thing is this, is naturally, whether you believe in a religion or not, everyone always has that guilty conscience. And if you look at somebody who's fucked up, like in their past or, in their lifetime, right before they die even, they'll be like, fuck, I want to apologize to my ex-wife that I used to be horrible to. Because if that doesn't, we'll take your example, right? If no one really gives a shit at the moment, why are people so remorseful before they die? I don't care who it is. If you were a fucked up person and a really shitty person, and you were like, you had that mentality, I don't care. God, whatever. Who fucking cares about that?
Because they're probably looking back at their life and going, man, I really sucked.
But my question is this: why do you want to look back at your life? And if those instances, in each one of those instances, you didn't care, why did you look back?
I have no idea because I've never been at the end of my life.
Okay, exactly. And what I'm trying to explain to you and get at is, when we reach that point of death, because you can be agnostic, you can whatever religion you want to believe in, whatever. God you believe in, you don't believe in God, we're all gonna die. Cut case fucking closed. Like, one day, we're all not gonna fucking exist. And the thing is, for a human being, we don't know what that unknown is. Whether you're agnostic or not, you do acknowledge that there is that unknown. Like, maybe I'll be under the ground, we
know you go on a massive DMT trip, and that's generally speaking what is scientifically believed to be the afterlife.
Yeah, scientific.
You're on a giant DMT trip. So it doesn't matter if you were a good person or a bad person. Yeah. You just start tripping balls, and then whatever you're feeling at the moment of death is how you're going to be feeling for what is perceived to be eternity.
But what I'm saying is, no one has really... I mean, until we get to that point, we can't really judge. And even if you're an atheist or agnostic or whatever, no one will know until they get to that point.
Correct.
So the fact of the matter is, since we don't know what's after that, since we're alive as we speak, right? Those people who feel guilty at that moment, they feel guilty because for whatever reason, they may be atheists too. They may be like, damn, why do I feel like I have to
You can feel bad for being a dick, and it has nothing to do with like religion.
But it's just, I'm not saying it has to do with the religion. I'm just saying it's the unknown. It's the, okay, there's that chance that God may not exist. And
Pascal's Gambit. No, but there are people who are militant atheists, like, and I fucking, it's I gotta go out and tell everybody that that's stupid. But there are people who are that militant, and they still don't know. I mean, scientifically speaking, we can say that yes, and there are some interesting things that have come out, like the body loses like half a pound at the moment of death. Now that's, I believe, heat being expelled from the body. But that's a whole nother like thermodynamic lesson that I don't want to get into on a podcast. But you have maybe all this maybe, but it's trying to prove a point. Kind of, you're trying to fit the data to the endpoint. You're not trying to like it's. I could give you 100 different examples of this means for a fact there's an afterlife, but it doesn't. It's people have this perception, and like nobody knows what happens after you die. Well, the easiest option is nothing. But that's the easiest explanation. People are finding all this data to fit to something. It's a drug trip. That's what it ends up being.
And again, like science can say all this explanation, and again, this is man-made. We've made this. Like all these explanations we've said, we've made this.
Yes.
There could be, you know what? There could be a fucking alien race right now that's laughing and is like, shit, these guys are fucking stupid if this is their explanation, right? Because we made this. Like this is our. So
it's even more likely that the world as we perceive it is just a giant simulation. Like, if you look at all of the theories on this, it's actually more likely than it is unlikely that the world we're living in is a simulation. Because, like, you look at like, once you get to the super microscopic level, these things don't actually move unless we're viewing them, which is kind of how you would expect a simulation to work. Like, we're not going to do all this minor, now they're looking at it, we have to, like, tweak this real quick. You know what I mean? And, the idea that human willpower has an observable effect on like a random number generator. They did a study at some well-known school where they had people focus on like, it's a 1 to 1,000 number generator. We're going to focus on the high end 1,000 and it would be moving things forward. So it's actually more likely that we're in a simulation and God is whoever created the simulation. But
you know, and the thing is, we'll never know until we get to that point. So